Hey guys, what's up? My name is ProfessorSnipe, and today I'm doing a scope review. Normally I review weapons, but I decided to actually go ahead and make a sub-series for scopes and sights. A lot of people have actually suggested that before, and I decided it was time to actually create the series. To kick it off, I'm going to review the Desert Ballistic scope, my personal favorite in this entire game. To obtain the Desert Ballistic scope, you must buy the Desert Supply Drop for the Recon class. A supply drop costs 999 funds, but it's a gamble. You'll never know what item you'll get, and you don't know for how long it'll last. Sometimes you might get lucky and hit it on your first try, sometimes it takes an eternity. Every try costs 999 funds. There is no such utility for an unlocked price because once you have it, whether it's a limited time, you can always use it. The price is relative. I know it took me around 3 tries to get it, which is not too expensive compared to people that paid 10 times to get it. This Recon scope is the only one in the game that has a desert skin to it. It's exclusive but doesn't really look that great on all weapons, but it's mostly appealing with the M95 and its desert paint job. The reticle of the sight is pretty awesome. I personally find it to be one of the best, if not the best. The reason being that it's so clear, has little to no distractions, and is very easy to adapt to. The only problem I encounter with the Desert Ballistic is sometimes when I'm aiming at darker areas like the alleyway and cart can, it can be difficult to spot that little circle. Remember, this reticle does not have a cross, it's a dot. Other than that, it's very easy to use, might not be the best for bullet drop calculations compared to other scopes because of the cross reticle, but it's still easy to calculate bullet drop. You can use the little markings on the bottom and that will help a lot. The best way to describe the sight is that it's so simple, it's so good. There aren't any complications or difficulties regarding it. Of course, the main reason you're here is to find out the zoom magnifications. If you haven't noticed already, this scope has the ability to zoom in, which is not the case for many sights. The default zoom level, or level 1 zoom, is 3.85 times. That is exactly the same as the default M95, JNG, and L96A1 scopes. Remember, here I'm talking about the zoom factor and not how the sight looks like. If you use the M95 with the normal sight, it's pretty much exactly the same thing except for the skin and the ability for a level 2 zoom. Speaking of level 2 zoom, its zoom level is 9.43 times, and that is extremely good. This sight and others like the Ballistic Range Ace and the Ballistic Deadeye have this maximum zoom capability. If you're looking for the most zoom on a sight, this is one of them, extremely good at 9.43 times. The default buttons to zoom in is actually the scroll wheel, so if you scroll up it'll zoom in, if you scroll down it'll zoom out. I personally use Z and V to zoom in and out. Now when it comes to in-game stats, you'll notice that the store says 7 times zoom, and that is false. It is actually 9.43 and 3.85, that's a way more accurate number for both zooms and not one of them. When it comes to aim down sight speed, it shouldn't change. It should stay the same as the default scope time, which is 0.25 seconds in all of the snipers except for the SV98. Believe it or not, the SV98 has the best scope zoom in time of 0.20 seconds. It should mean that even if you add the Desert Ballistic scope to the SV98, it will keep that 0.20 zoom in time, which is a good thing. Now, would I recommend the Desert Ballistic scope? Definitely. There is no such thing as one scope better than the other. Whatever appeals to you and makes you perform better is the best thing for you. I like the Desert Ballistic so much, it doesn't mean that it's better than the Panthera Range Ace or the Vulcan Deadeye. If you're willing to throw a bit of cash around, the scope is a good one. If you're uncertain about it, rent the M95 for a day. It's the exact same level 1 scope. Same reticle and same zoom. If you like that, you can buy the Desert Ballistic. You get the same thing with the addition of an additional 9.43 level 2 zoom. Also, with a cool desert skin. Do I think the Desert Ballistic is useful or useless? It depends on the weapons. Of course, you don't want to be using it on the VSS Ventores because of its effect at range. There's no point. It's better to use a lower magnification sight. If you're going to use the SV98 at long range, I wouldn't recommend the Desert Ballistic because there's no point of using the SV98 with such a poor long range damage and horrible bullet drop. The same thing can be said for the M24, but at least its damage is pretty good. The best use of the Desert Ballistic sight for long-range sniping is definitely the M95, the M98B, and the M82A3. The SKS, the M10, and even the SPD, and those weapons with high projectile velocity and overall good damage are pretty good, but of course I do recommend the first 3 snipers I've mentioned. But I want to point out that it's not like you can't use the attachment on other weapons. I use it on the SVUA, I mean I use it all the time, it's pretty great. But if you want the most out of your money, get it with the M95 or the M98B or the M82A3. I'm not going to give a rating for the sniper scope because it's all up to taste. I give you the facts and the visual gameplay. To actually find out if it's right for you, rent the M95, it's the exact same reticle and the same level 1 zoom. I personally love the Desert Ballistic scope, it gives me comfortable shots across all ranges. Anyways, that's the video on the Desert Ballistic scope. If you did enjoy and want to see more of these reviews, please leave a like rating and comment down what sight you want me to cover next. I'll keep doing the recon class for now, and then I'll move on to overall sights like the red dot, the holographic, and the M145. My name is ProfessorSnipe, and thanks for watching.